Hey everyone, hopefully you guys are having a good night. We're gonna do some weird refactoring today on the final bit of the multiplayer item code. Yeah, because there'll never be an item component now on Snap Point anymore. It's not true. The habitation components are still technically item components, but let's evaluate on that first. We got it actually happening, but we didn't clear. Okay, we're not clearing the reference. Yeah, we don't need to worry about the collision layers. Yeah, so when we do this detach, we need to re let me see. We got that detach from player. Ah, cool. All right, so hard point left. Okay. So we need to broadcast an RPC to the player to kind of forcefully, preemptively attach the multi-tool tractor beam. And it's going to be very tangly. I don't know if always we, you know, it's going to be the worst because we have our player equipment, right? And our player equipment could have a multi-tool, and I got some helper classes that determine like whether we have a multi-tool equipped or not. So like multi-tool, the light, the multi-tool equipable. Yeah, so like has multi-tool equipped, right? If a valid slot selected and the slot selected item is a multi-tool and it's equipped, then we know we have the multi-tool, right, for the slot selected item. But we're not really. Yeah, I guess it's technically always the slot selected. I'm wondering if we should just keep an active reference to the current weapon that's equipped. Or the current item that's equipped. Because right now they're all in their own slots, and we just kind of switch between the slot. So we have like an inventory slot system, we have 5 different slots of equipment types like grenades, medical pans. You know, this is like synchronized and private. We don't really keep, you know, we can always check if the slot selected. Yeah, it's gonna be an item code. I don't like it. Let's do a public void. Set multi-tool. Which can be just a rigid body. It'll be an RPC, but only on the authority, of course, and only if the multi-tool is equipped. Anyone will call it, but the authority will only be the one who answers. But I think we're going to be sending directly to it anyway. Yeah, because they would have. And then what we'll do here with the snap point. Yeah, we'll go ahead and spawn it. And then we'll do our player source. Equipment. And we'll RPC the, but then I wanted the same thing, but something else. This is all fine. Let's do something a little bit different. Let's do a when we despawn the item, spawn item component. Let's change this to a detach item component, which will take the ID of the item component, but also a path of the person who detached it. And it'll do everything that it's going to do before, but then we'll have an item reference, so we'll know. And then we can grab a player. We don't need to do that. It's not going to... Yeah, we know this is an item component. We don't need to check. We spawned it in. Hey Bear, how's it going? I've been going crazy and did so much work yesterday, brother. It's actually crazy how much work I've done yesterday. I can actually go through most of the gameplay loops now, strictly in multiplayer. I'll go through it. Let me just button this up so it still compiles. And we'll take a look. There's one little bug, and it requires a little bit of convolution that I don't like. So, because I don't want to, like, there's a little weird issue, right, where I have a tractor beam multi-tool. And that multi-tool needs to hit a target to create a beam. Now, if I RPC to spawn in a component, and a new component has been created, I need to call back to the source who initiated it to reattach the the multi-tool, right, on the new item, right? So a massive, huge refactor was done yesterday. I've been really focused. I feel a little bit of pressure, I think, to get this stuff now done. I think I've prototyped long enough, you know. I've learned. But that 8-day sprint with that airship game has changed my brain a little bit, right? So check this out. I'm a server here, up here in the top corner. Let's we're gonna come over here, and we're gonna be the observer. Down here, I'm gonna join in on a player. We're gonna come over here real quick. This is gonna be a highlight. Maybe we'll clip this. So here we have a player. If I go into my inventory, you'll notice I don't have anything, right? Boom. So let me come over here to this first little terminal where you can buy physical items. I'm going to buy a rifle. The rifle is in. We know the rifle is in because we can verify it on the server, right? We have a rifle. I'm going to go over and grab my rifle and loot it by proximity. And there we have a rifle in our backpack. We're going to come over here. We're going to turn around. We'll just use our server for this. So, you know, server player doesn't have a rifle. Other player has a rifle. How about we give it to the server? So let's come over here. Let's take it. Let's drop it on top of the drop, which physicalizes into the world. It's now passed to the world spawner. My server character can go, oh, cool, here's my interactable item. I'm going to go ahead and loot that. And now I've transferred it over, you know, in the inventory, and it all works fine, right? And we can do the same thing. Like maybe I don't want a rifle, you know what I mean? Maybe I'll just take this rifle and I'll put it into my inventory, and then from my inventory, I'll just spawn it, you know, onto the server loosely, and maybe the server can go and take that rifle, and maybe they can switch it out with the other one, and then they can use the rifle that the other player had, and maybe, you know, we can just swap it out and maybe give it back to him, so that, you know, the other player can actually have his rifle again, and then have it be equipped. So where does this go? Hang on, there's more, right? Okay, what about physicalized components, right? What about physicalized components? What about ship components, right? I have a ship. Let's go take you on a user story, right? User story here is a server. Server's observing. I'm going to go over here and take a look at my ships. I own a combat ship. We don't care about it. We're going to go sell it. Screw it. I don't want a combat ship. Let's go sell the combat ship. It's gone. It's not there anymore. It's not on my profile. But I would like to buy one. So I have credits, right? Brand new UI system. We wrote all this. We wrote everything, right? Got some money. Gonna go buy new combat ship. So let's go back to purchase. Buy a combat ship. Right. Spawn in our new combat ship on the server. All the data is here. Everything's synced. I can open up the thing. I can spam the shit out of it. I can get in. Doesn't matter who owns it. I can get out. You know, you can see even the animations here. You know, fully synchronized. What do we do with this thing? Well, let's go and look at some things here. Let's come over here and buy some components. Right. So we have all components are now working in multiplayer. So let's buy 2 tri-lasers. These are my tri-lasers. What does that mean? What does it mean for them to be my tri-lasers? Well, it means that other people can't touch them, not theirs, right? If I go on the other server, buy a mining laser. This is the server's mining laser, right? This is not your mining laser. You can't track through that. These are yours. This is the server's. It all works. But hey, that's my ship. I just bought it. Let's go and equip it, right? Boom. Right. Let's take this and let's equip it. And you know, this is the ship. It's now fully serialized. It's got components. Well, let's see if it lives through respawning. So let's go ahead and despawn it. It's gone. It's not on the server anymore. Spawn it back in. There it is. Screw it. I'm gonna take it. It's my ship now. Let me go and you know, jump in. Boom. All the weapons work. Everything's working. Let's land. Let's go further. Let's go even further. Let's go crazy. We've done items. We've configured the ship. We've done pretty much everything. We've spawned in, you know, a bunch of random items like fuel scoops, intakes, power plants. We've thrown them all over the place. You know, here's the intake. Here's some more weapons. You know, let's leave the ship in a half-assed state. Let's like rip off like one component in it. And now let's bring in a lake joiner. Everything works. Right? And they can't access any of this stuff. It's not theirs. So let's do a mission. Let's do a mission. Let's go and actually fix. Let me just fix a mistake I just made by you're not technically supposed to be the one redoing that. So let's put it back. All right, close this up. Let's do some missions, right? So let's demonstrate more. Let's go further. Let's do delivery missions. Right? Let's do a delivery mission from A to B. There's only 2 places that it can go right now. So we have pickup location. Oh look, it's a cargo box. It's fully serialized. It's online. It's working. What do we do with it? Well, we deliver it. Let's go deliver it. Boom, stick it in there. You know what? Fuck it. Let's get the doors working on multiplayer today. Let's get it all working. You know, boom. Close. I just made money, right? There it is. Made some money. My player data. There's 8,300 credits because I did a mission. But hey, let's do some together. Let's do a combat mission, right? Let's spawn in an NPC. Fuck it. Right? Here's an NPC mission. Oh, look, there he is on the server with his aggro table. Here, let me be the server. Let me go do it. I'll go do it. I'll go get killed. You know what I mean? I don't care. He's going around. He's going around killing everyone. He's camping. He's on a warpath. Screw it. Let me take him out. Done. Made credits. These guys respawn correctly, right? Because they got hurt, so they're all respawn. They're good. We have a bug we gotta fix with the gravity not being reset when they get killed. But hey, we'll fix that. That's easy. Right, so all the 0G animations, right, they're all nice. Oh, I hit the starting scene. Okay, one second. Thanks. Yeah. When did I hit that? How long ago? Let me minimize that. Okay. Right. So anyway, these guys respawned. Okay. All right. Fuck it. Let's go do a ship mission. Let's accept the ship mission. And now a ship has spawned in somewhere within 1,000 meters. And hey, let's take the ship that I own. And hey, like right now they're kind of muted. Let me just stop. Let me just stop right there, and let me go help. You know what I mean? Let's go spawn in my own ship, and you know let's just go and play some gameplay. Actually, screw it. Let's bring the server along for the fun. You know, while they're dogfighting and they're doing their thing. You know what I mean? Let's multi-crew this. You know, let's just go and throw the server in here, and then we'll both go. Now, sit animations I need to get fixed again because I optimized all the animation trees. So let's go and also get engaged into this combat scenario that's happening here somewhere. Yeah, same thing. I think there's a bug right now with the ships. I think the ships are disabled, and I just pretty much killed myself. But it's okay because I just get all I do is get ejected into the 0G. Okay, yeah. I'm seeing some lack of resetting happening here on the. I think the sitting is not being cleared, so we need to make sure sitting is being cleared and standing. There's a few states that are not synchronizing. But hey, let me go and open up my trusty little debug tool, and we'll just go to my menu, and I'll just do a reset, which just kills me. And right, and it'll just put me back where we were, and similarly, and they just pop out of the gravity and come back in. So some minor bugs still, but as you can see, all of the systems of the game, from cargo to, you know, deliveries to all of the different serialization of everything, and it, you know, just works, right? You can just spawn boxes, move boxes, buy, sell, trade. It seems to be, let's go back to the other station. Hello, other client. Go away. Anyway, so you know, and then if bored, you can always just go play pool. You know, we gotta there needs to be a little optimization in the detect overlapping areas of the character when we respawn them, just to because the issue I think what I might end up doing is doing like some type of an outward sphere cast as a direct physics query, because gravity volumes or gravity areas are layered, and the issue is the ordering, right? Like we need to reestablish the ordering of I'm inside a station, which is inside a ship, and you can't really trust them to fire their on-body enter triggers in the correct order. I find so we really have the ray cast out, you know, or sphere cast out, and kind of get that, you know, specific ordering kind of working, you know. So yeah, Bear, this is you know, like kind of me putting it all together over the last couple of days, kind of and the spherical effect you're looking at is actually a helmet shader. And a gentleman on Reddit reached out to me after a year about a volumetric nebula shader they were working on, and he actually gave me the code for it. And I tried it out and shit. Not because it's bad, it's actually great, but it has all the problems that he mentioned, where like you need to set the number of rays or the number of I don't remember the term, but it's got to go from 64 to 512 for it to look good, and it just destroys performance. So I have another alternative idea. So that's that, right? And then the other thing I want to work on, there, is this one. Let me go into this universe online. This has been well, I already showed this off. This is the same scene, but with the space environment. It might be useful to the players. Be right back. All good. I'll take a fly around, show the audience. But I put in more skyboxes, and I put in this placeholder skybox. I'll fly around until you get back. Right here. So this is a skybox, a boring UV skybox. So if you're in this part of space, you're in the developer zone. And the reason why I wanted this, I wanted a neutral, not pure white, but kind of a cloudy ambient like AO. So I can build some white box stations, and I can put them in here and have the correct, you know, diffuse and correct ambient lighting, you know, like just something more neutral without like the color blade, other things. So I've literally made myself a test star system pretty much that I can use to bring in things and play with them as if I was, you know, testing them in their own scene. I want to get rid of that idea of different scenes and different test setups. I want to be able to have everything spawnable into the universe, including what I call the test system itself. I need to simplify and just kind of get things in an area where, hey, like a player could technically fly here, and you know, into this coordinate and be in this kind of test system, and they can go into the test station, and there will be a, you know, all of the tools that I will be using for testing available to them. So you know, like a field or like a range for testing out the guns, a place for testing out different ships, like a place where the rules of the game get kind of broken, and then they can kind of just fly off into, you know, the rest of the world because everything will be streaming. I need to fix that shader. Okay, this must be the one. Yeah, let's move here. This is my original Unity skybox. I converted this one here too lately. So this one right here is the old skybox, one-to-one ported from Unity. from a cube from a cube map to a HDRI. This one always feels very special. Anyway, let's just work. Let's just get shit done. So let's get RPCs on everything. Let's continue. Let's get the drop terminal. Let's get the drop terminal turned into RPCs. Because I don't want to fire. I guess it could technically fire across all. Let's RPC. Let's do the request, because the request does its own RPC. But let's put the open and close into its own private. And we're just gonna fire it. One, and we'll do the same thing for close, which we'll put these both down underneath. Why am I using an animation tree for this thing? Oh, because there's multiple blades. Gotcha. Oh, yeah, maybe I was. Let me close it. Just turn the light off first. So regardless of their request to the managers or whatnot, these will just relay their RPCs of at least the animation and light. Because if a late joiner occurs, I want their default state to be closed anyway. Like, it doesn't really matter. They would only ever be perceived while a session would be active. So someone coming over here and like opening this up and the light turning on and closing it, like we don't need to maintain state of that. That's not something that's important. We just need RPCs for this, like, to indicate intention while it's occurring. So this is fine. What else we're going to fix? It's good too, because we want to make sure that light is only on when it needs to be. And then we also, for performance reasons, yeah, let's do that now. Let's do the drop terminal. Yeah, let's go and check its light settings. And we want to make sure that can be dual part. That could be super simple. Dual parabolic, doesn't need light. It could use shadow. Nah, it doesn't need shadow. It's fine. Basic, simple. And the distance fade, we're going to change it to probably 24 meters, I think. Yeah. Or we'll just go with we'll go with the module size, which is 64. So anything further enough away. Yeah. Shadows can be 50. That's fine. Like 15. That's good. So anything more than one space station module away will pretty much include any of this stuff. You know, and that goes for the. Yeah, I think a lot of like these two, like we could have technically remade this, you know, as a single animation, because each blade kind of stops. I mean, technically I could have just wrapped it around and just had it kind of bowl instead of it kind of going up there and stopping. So they all bunch up. I wonder if they would have been more performant with a bone, like a set of skeletal bones and a single like skeleton animation. Although I don't really think the animation tree is gonna really. Yeah, 2 animations is probably fine. Although, is it only one? Yeah, it probably doesn't even need that. I probably just did that so it could be interrupted. This probably doesn't even need a tree, to be honest. If close is only going to be open backwards, right? Unless I was synchronizing its state, not synchronizing state. In actuality, we could just make it like after a duration of time. Yeah, I don't think we actually need this animation tree at all, because the animation, I think, is good. Because if you play it backwards, it will be, yeah, what we need. Yeah, so in reality, we can actually just clean this up a little bit more. Rid of this animation player in the model. Then it doesn't really need the animation tree, it just needs the animation player. So for opening, we're just going to apply open. If we're closing, we're just going to apply close. And then we're going to get rid of a node, and getting rid of a node is always great. Because ideally, I don't even want the to have this to be kind of editable. Oh, it's not doing the play backwards once again. It's like a micro optimization, but that's the goal, right? Remove nodes. Get rid of nodes. Anything that cannot be a node. Destroy it. Much better. Yeah. Rip, goodbye animation player. You're not needed for this. Great. And now let's help the system. But when we do this, like we're already relaying this to every single one anyway. Let's regardless set a scene tree timer. That'll pretty much run the standard close function automatically if after a duration of time. So let's say like in 10 seconds after we do an open, we're just gonna we don't really need to actually run the close because it's not going to be mission crucial, but we can, because we're already doing this now on every other peer, we can just manually run the play reverse and just turn the light off because that's kind of what we really want, right? Just to forcefully reset the state. And just same thing. We're just going to kind of do what close does, but without. Oh, okay. Well, if that's going to be the case, then we'll run it non-RPC. Yeah. We'll just non-RPC it. So all we'll do is we'll open it, and then wait 10 seconds and just get a callback of the client side close, because we don't want that light on, right? Light is not important to us. So let's say we're lazy and someone comes up and they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna turn this on. Lights on. I'm gonna wait 10 seconds." And it's a delegate on the tail end of an existing RPC, so it's just going to fire on the same clients, right? It's not a network thing. It's more like, later on, for every time we do this, we're just going to run that animation, and then we just need to check to make sure, just one little guard. Right. So if we're still open at this time, close it. Right. Okay, just in case someone closes it or whatever, preemptively. And that, I think, will just make my life a little bit easier. And we've just simplified it a little bit, which is always good. So I'm going to open both. I'm going to close one in advance. Okay. And now this one, nothing should happen to this one, and this one should close automatically, because we don't want to have any of them doing anything. All right. Easy peasy. 1, 1, 2, 3, open. Easy peasy. Okay, so, and then the other state, we need to figure out like a way of getting our collision shapes, fixing the gravity. And more importantly, retractoring the tractor beam when we do a reattachment. It's like even the NPCs, man, they're going back to their own homes. These are like homes. I know they're not really homes, but they're like a node, which represents their apartment. Yeah, we're actually going to look into NPC avoidance. I'm going to use the washroom real quick. I'll be right back. All right, we're back again. Yeah, so that's done. We got to get the tractor beam reattaching. Now, that's going to be kind of annoying, but I think, yeah, I think it'll be all right. Because what we want to do when we spawn in a ship like the combat ship, and we take off components, right? They drop off because like it doesn't know, like it's swapping. It's literally swapping out the components. So there's like a, the original like ship component gets despawned, the one in the world gets spawned, and we need to broadcast that back to the player that, hey, we want to tractor this thing. And the tractoring has not been an RPC based concept anyway, so you're seeing like like you never kind of see the tractor beam in multiplayer anyway, and by doing it as an RPC, at least we can ensure the state of the beam if there is a beam attached. But it's something that we need to worry about. Because I never care about the visuals, I only care about the systemics. Right, but it's very hard for a player if I gotta go and snap something in place here. Right, and then I want to like detach it, it'll be very annoying to have to click it twice. And that's a bug that we have with the new cargo system too, right? When we re-physicalize it, we don't have a way of telling, the source player, hey, with this new method, I need to get you going. The other thing is we want to close the window after a D-line. So once you get in, and you're in the seat, let's close the window. And you know what? That's a one that we could probably. Let's get that one out too. Let's fix what we can. Let's just go crazy this week and fix minor things that make the game look better and feel better, and let's get her done. Let's go in and actually get these details we want to have in this thing. The lighting. Stop building systems. Start building. So in the combat ship, the canopy is its own thing. Right? And I don't think it has a reference. I don't think we're really doing anything with it. It is an independent system, right? But it has an interaction and its own animation player, and because it's eye interactable, it runs its own interact function from the player. So like nothing really, causes this thing to do anything, right? Yeah, the interaction is always to switch from one to the other. So we have an RPC, so we know if it's open, otherwise closed. And we should, yeah, instead of making this like a toggle, I mean, it is a toggle. We should probably, yeah, we'll just make a public. Weird recommendation. It should make a public void close. Only if it's open, we'll just fire this RPC. We'll fire an interaction, but only an interaction if it's open, because that's going to close it regardless. And then so we can call this by anyone, and we'll just relay the state of this thing. And then close. So the ship doesn't really have the ship canopy reference, but technically a ship combat seat would, because it's a these are always, the combat seats are kind of always a part of the It's actually a ship station. I know it doesn't have its own thing, but it's a variant of a ship station. It's just a one-player ship station. So I can optionally just give it an export for the time being of a, it'll be a public. It doesn't even need to be that. It can be private for now. Private. Yeah. Just a private ship canopy, and when we do interact with the player, and we run set players, this is like setting them. We set the camera, and this is happening. Not really as an RPC, but just kind of directly. Let's see. We can call it. We are the authority anyway. Yeah, it's a weird one. And we'll just use a null propagation on that. So we'll just say, regardless, when we get in the seat, we'll wait 4 seconds. Not even 2.5 seconds. And if there is a ship canopy, let's just go and run close. And then we're going to jump into the combat ship. And if we're the authority, it should just close and be fine. Only difference is we didn't actually set the ship canopy. So, second. We spoke a little bit too soon. OBS has crashed? What? We're looking at OBS. Run normally. So, player combat ship, grab our seat, assign our canopy, and then go back to multiplayer and let's jump in. Let me see if this player has a combat ship. They do. Spawned. Let's go back to the server. Let's observe. Let's go open up the seat. There we go. Let's jump in. Boom. And then when we hit Y to get out, it's not very convenient to, probably going to want to open it, get out, and then automatically close it again. So we'll have to go through the same kind of loop, and we'll just do two timers. We're not going to go too crazy with the, yeah, so we'll do like pretty much the exact same thing. We'll just do 2 little scene tree timers. So if we're clearing what we were exiting. Yeah, when we're exiting the ship, we're clearing the player. The process of clearing the player. Let's do that real quick. So first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna directly open the ship canopy. Or in our case, we don't have it open. We're just gonna do an interact. Whatever it is. Oh yeah, we can just run. Yeah, let me just manually run the interact twice. This is private. Let's just do that. You know, we can probably can we expression body this? And let's take a look what the exit looks like. All right, cool. I'm gonna call that done too. Does a reparent does it do a remove and an add? Let's do a queue free with a remove. Yeah, what does reparent truly do on the scene tree level? Because I get a lot of these, like we're not yet in the tree yet. We were in the tree because we reparented. Right. And I know we can like preserve global transform and not set it, but It's weird. Right, if we reparent anyway, we can use our local transform reference, really. I think it's fine. And because we've already reparented, it would be problematic. We won't get any inside tree errors. No, it's not true. We want to bring it to it. So we don't, yeah, we don't, like, once we reparent this thing. We just want to reset it. Like, I could do rotation, like we could just zero it out. Like locally. Position first. But I would like to do it with a one-liner, but let's just see. Because these we can do while we're outside of the scene tree. Do we not RPC the beam effects? No? Let's take a look at the laser weapon. Oh man, the stuff we're gonna fix today. Yeah, because even like we gotta reevaluate the collision layers of these things too, because if they're two different components, then the components, while already on the ship, don't need collision layers because they don't really need collisions, right? They're components on the ship. They will have a collision layer, so the player can't bump into them. But I think weapon components, like physically on the ship, are going to have very primitive colliders. You know, like very basic colliders because they're just they need higher visuals because they're there you can see them, but they don't need any weird physics because once you go and you click them and you pull them off, then you have a different, you know, collision shape that's more adjusted to the world. And like the freeze mode's always going to be statics. These were all little nuances from before where it's, you know. So ship weapon itself should have an RPC for the it has one for the beams, but doesn't have one for the yeah, because I think we were gonna do weapon beams separately as a child component of the ship weapon. Because we have a beam mesh. Yeah, it is firing. So on physics, if every physics process we fire the beams. Oh, okay. I don't know if I want to RPC this. Because we're using our own time. Yeah, we're using our own yeah, especially in a physics process. But I guess if we're not firing, it's not doing anything. So I guess it's fine. Yeah, just I don't know. It needs to be changed. This is going to be annoying, but But let's get beams working. Now, which one had the mining beams? Oh yeah, was it this client? The combat ship with mining beams? Yes. Nope. Not seeing anything from them. Alright, collision point is working, but oh, we're idiots. Oh wait, why did that go authority? Hang on. Any view. Okay. And you know what? Let's this will be unreliable. Yeah. This does not need to be this could be UDP. Because it's gonna be a weapon trigger. This can't be yeah. I think this needs to be faster. Yeah. Okay. Still not seeing anything. Not seeing any errors either, oddly enough. Okay. I mean, they exist. Hello. Yeah, not really digging the code of this. Because the issue is like the state of this is not really changing. Because this firing doesn't actually sync. Right, like we set them here to be firing. We fire the weapons. Because we're feeding the state, we don't really need to do this as an RPC. Because it's this that we need to worry about. We'll do the rest of the state logic on the client. And if we miss a couple of frames, not a big deal. Yeah, so the physics process should just be doing fire beams on all clients, regardless. And if the firing is true, beam should be fine. Great, this is all local. We're not freeing them though. Hang on. Oh, the weapon groups. Right. Okay, never mind. Hang on. What is the interface? Hey, Mungalo. Go chip weapon interface. How's it going, Mungalo? I've been doing really good today. I'm getting a lot of stuff done. I got all the reparenting and all that stuff working. What we're doing now is like really fixing some of the more nuanced stuff. Now equipment slots should work. Had a bug fixed streak today. Nice. Now equipment slots should work on full client host and the other things fixed. Nice. I've been able to go through each of the scenarios now of equipment and ship components and everything now in the build, and have it all working. What I'm doing now is all of the ship components and laser repeaters. I gotta check laser repeaters because I'm now RPCing all of the laser balls. So I should make sure that we can still shoot stuff. And jump in this one. Nice thing about how I do it is all items will be treated as a base item and just work. Nice. Oh, I disabled the ship apparently. So if I add a console command to console item or whatever configurations, it would just work. Nice. Let's do some asteroids. So there's an asteroid fracture, GLTF. What is the destroyed one? What are these GLTFs? Weird, they're like not valid. Must be early versions. In this one? I don't recall that one either. There is an asteroid Mish here, which I think was eventually at some point imported from the asteroid. There's the material for it. There's the prototype. There's the fracture prototype. I wonder why the FPX is broke. I'll just permanently have this mesh data forever, I guess. I wonder what causes them to... maybe if I kill the import? Oh, weird. Killing the import fixed it. Okay, so there's like a test cluster. How big would an array of 16 transforms be? 48 bytes. So directly, as a Godot array. So 870 bytes. Double precision. All right, somewhere. Okay, so we have. So an array of 16 double precision transform to 3Ds objects is 1535 bytes raw data only, not coupling overhead. So say with overhead. Assume we're streaming animation of a simulation over. So we blow the asteroid, we're waiting for the mole to settle. 10 seconds. At a network tick of 60. One meg. So streaming 16 double precision transforms at 60 hertz over 10 seconds, we use 1 meg of bandwidth. Actually use maybe slightly higher depending on protocol compression and fragmentation. So to simulate the blowing of an asteroid and keep it all synchronized without using individual multiplayer synchronizers, this doesn't make sense. There's only always going to be 16 of these things, and once they stop moving, we can, you know, freeze them in place. What if? Yeah, because so say it's just transforms. Server version of the rigid bodies, which are doing the simulation. Are active. Clients, they are disabled. So we move via transform. We interpolate movement and send that 15 FPS. If so, what would the data be? Okay, so if we interpolated movement on the clients, transforms are running at 15 FPS. We'll get 1536 bytes at 15 FPS. So the total data will be 225 kilobytes. So streaming 16 double precision transforms at 15 hertz for 10 seconds. We use 255 kilobits. And then how many of those could be possibly firing off at the same time? Let's assume. 20 players are mining. Let's try field. What would the field throughput be? About 5 megs. Any issues? Fracture light impulse calculation is fine. Building the impulse magnitude is 0.5. More rules. Yeah, I don't care about that. No reset on fracture. Don't care about that either. Okay, yeah. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, let's get them to implement. So just implement the RPC module streaming the simulation to the asteroid shards. There will only ever be 16. So we run sync shards. Only servers account 222. Oh, we can actually just do we can just feed the array of transforms. Let's do it. And physics process. 15, which is 30, 60 by 60 now. So current rate. Hey, David, how's it going? Yeah, so on physics process, we do our physics for encounter, collect the transforms, stream the clients. This will stream at 15 hertz, keeping clients in sync. Well, that's all good. We're just working on multiplayer code. Yeah, and if we're not the server, we need to turn it off. We need to disable the shards. Right, so also be sure server shards. Then we're gonna let this thing fire and implement all this stuff. Start implementation, go. Oop. I love AI. Uteron. It's not really like an accurate word, you know what I mean? Like in the language. We use it all the time. I mean, the Metallica song Unforgiven is literally, you know. Yeah, if we're not the server, we freeze all the shards. Dip our array of transforms. We'll still run the fracture logic. Boom. Yeah, and the fact that we can do the array of transforms, this will be good. We're going to feed the non-reliable. We need to make sure fracture, whatever is calling fracture, which is the asteroid itself. Oh, it's going to do it. Okay, it's going to do it anyway. Right. So really, ready, start, we fracture. For the server, we do the thing. If not, yeah, so are we good? Let's find out. Let's see if the simulation is accurate. Doing pretty good with it, David. Doing a lot of bug fixes today. I'm actually like kind of really honing, and I try to hone in this month and really push gameplay. Gameplay is the thing. We want to make sure the simulation looks good. So I think if they're disabled, the issue is like it's not really. Yeah, no, I think it'll be fine because the Onion, our combat ship, which has the mining lasers. Cool. So this simulation that we're seeing here at 15 hertz is the true server implementate, like reference. And then we just, like, once they stop, we need to make sure we stop sending the data. Let's go and see if it's accurate. Okay, so there should be one on the server right here. Because if they're static at this point, I think that's fine. So let's go find my guy. So, yep, that's accurate. Awesome. Oh, it's so cool. Right, because it's accurate, the server version of the ship is not only accurately, the server version of the ship is actually accurately mining the server version of the shards. So, like, when these blow, they're completely synchronized. Hang on. Wait a second. We blew up, but we didn't, that time we didn't synchronize. So the first one did. Yeah, that one's blowing up. Yeah. Weird. Wonder what causes some of them to not blow. I wonder, are their original positions actually wrong? Nothing bumped them. Let me blow another one. I wonder if my ship bumped them on the server. Although I think they're locked. Yeah, let me bump one. I think they're meant to be, they're not meant to be moved. So they're blowing, but not, oh god, hang on. Yeah, we got some, million. Oh, because we don't have authority? Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, we need to check if they're not queued for deletion already. We don't really need this Godot object. Okay, so if we're good. And then we do need to stop once they stop moving. We call on the server. We should check for children periodically, maybe like a main timer. We should check for children. To be sleeping. If all children, all shards. Yeah, all shards are either removed or sleeping. You stop seeing data. And the simulation is done. It's Unforgiven. So for the server on physics process, we're going to go through, yeah, there you go. Check and see if we're sleeping, if we're all done. If we're all done, that's fine. Naming convention's kind of dumb. Yeah. Reach the shards. Oh, we're kind of like, okay, cool. We're just dynamically building up that transform list just so they can be, the data will be less and less and less until it's finished. Yeah, that's not bad. That is not a bad idea. Okay, some of this, me. If all shards are sleeping, then we're done. Then we're done with this. Okay. Try that out. I should have cleared all those errors in advance. Yeah, that's gotta be like a second and a half. I don't like that. Let's see if it'll blow. Yep, good. Hell yeah. Okay, let's blow another one. No, and what caused that one to fail? Notify. in brown. When the asteroid is done and settled. I think it's only when I started mining them and removing them. Yeah, so we never really see it sleep. Oh, now, okay, that took a long time. Yeah, they gotta sleep a lot fast. Like, I think the shards. I think they need a damp. Because I think they're dampening. I don't know if combined is the right word. Default dampening is 0. What 0.1 would be? Too strong? Higher damp, more force? Maybe? I want them to sleep faster. Does that work? Can I just do 0.1 for all of them, or no? No. Annoying. Can I like copy? No. Yeah. That's annoying. There's like 10 times more dampening, so we're gonna need a lot more force. We do have an asteroid cell. Oh yeah, there's a script on this thing. Yeah, I could have already just said that. Let's do 10 for the force direction. Let's try it again and see how long it takes for each of the fragments to sleep. Because this will be the worst case scenario. Once we start clumping them, then it's, you know, it's fine. Nice force. Can't find the RPC path. Oh, because I'm an idiot. Hang on. Why are these even being given a different... Hang on a second. Why are they... Node 3 something in the asteroid test cluster? Yeah, the spawning is wrong. Should be predictable. Yeah, I want to use a UI, a random GUID on these so that they stay the same. We use the same ID when we spawn in the fractures. All right, now I should be able to mine all of these, and it should be persistent, be the same. Hey, Kansan. How's it going? That too, pretty good. We're just working on most of the multiplayer. Working on multiplayer synchronization. A few weeks ago, I started removing all of the single player code from the game to give us a better test framework. So now everything can be done in multiplayer. All gameplay experiences can now be like perceived. So from the time I start, you know, either play a game of pool or like, you know, there's a player here. All of this is working. Let me come over here. Let's bring the test server player over. There we go. Right, so, you know, again, I'm going to sell. I'm going to go and sell my combat ship that I was just playing with. Right, it's gone. No more combat ship. Let me purchase a new one for myself. And, you know, if I spawn it in, the new combat ship, right? Doesn't have any components or anything. But you can see it's all working here in multiplayer. So he's going to want some components. We're testing out mining. So we're going to head over here and maybe buy a tri-laser or a mining laser. You see they're all spawning in, they're all working. I mean, I can grab all the components. This whole thing is now seamless. So let's grab 2 mining lasers and throw them on. So this whole time, like, the other player is here, you know, experiencing the game. Right, so check it out. So we now, like, this is all now good. So I can go over here and I can store the ship. Okay? And we can see that it obviously is maintaining itself. Boom, with all of its components. So these are the mining lasers. So what I've been working on, so let me just go and we'll just do some more. So like everything, like all of the things are now working. Right, so from, you know, the ability to do cargo missions, you know. So I accept a cargo mission, I can do a pickup and a drop off, all fully synchronized. Right, I'm gonna go make some money. Obviously you would bring it to another station. This is demonstration, right? Boom, just made some money. Want to do an NPC mission, like a PvP mission. Want to spawn an NPC in. Yeah, sometimes they spawn on the other stations, so maybe to spawn in a couple of these missions, because they could be anywhere in the system that I'm playing around with. See if we get lucky. Nope, this is the second one that's on the other star system, and I don't really want to fly over there and see. We have another one. Let's try this one. There we go. Right, so now we have a bounty, right? And I can go get killed. Let me, and we can see, like, you know, like this is all happening. You know, so let me, right, there's my bounty target that I have to kill. And they're in combat with me. Oh, they killed me. Right, and I just respawned. There we go. Oh, now there's a little gravity problem here. I need to kind of re-enter the gravity volume. Let me actually go and kill that guy. So I just completed the mission and I just made some credits. And we can do the same thing with ship missions. You know, ship missions. We want to spawn a ship that we can go and kill. You know, boom. Now we have a, and this is literally like, you know, freelancer, right? You can still go buy commodities, buy your cargo, put it on your ship, bring it from point A to point B, right? The whole point of this is to make like a Star Citizen light, you know, just the Sea of Thieves in space. Think 2012 Star Citizen, you know. We just want the basics. I just want 7 ships. I don't want 150 ships. I don't want, you know what I mean? Like, I just want that experience, right? That collective, you know, 24 player maximum for a star system. Look, he's here attacking us. Hang on, we gotta go. He's coming around. Man, let's bring in another ship real quick. Let me just bring this guy. We gotta get him out of the way. Oh god. Oh god. Before we get, you know, it's let me just go get my other ship, which does have weapons on it, you know. Let's get Bobby in. Boom. So this is your standard space trucking ship, you know. You can bring your buddy. It's got all physicalized components, you know. Oh god, we're being rammed. Let's get him out of here, right? So you can have multiple players in this ship, right? We could destroy him. He's kind of stuck in the gravity right now, so that's fine. I could target him. All real world, you know. I got to get rid of that, like that alignment thing, but all of the UIs are diegetic. Everything in the game is going to be diegetic. I know I have some on-screen indicators right now, but they're actually not going to be there. They'll all be in the UI. This is going to be very 80s, you know, Cowboy Bebop kind of deal, right? So what I've been working on is this simulation system. So all this fracturing happens on the server, but it's running at 15 FPS right now because we want to keep track of every one of the entities so that we can mine them, which we can. Like I can damage every one of these entities, and they'll sleep, and I'll, if I had my tractor beams attached, we could suck up all this little pieces. But as I'm going around, you can see on the server, like these are all accurate. All of the explosions are all accurate. And we want to group the pre-fracturing, kind of shards. Exactly. There'll be an interpolation. It's about network data, right? Network throughput data, right? Being able to, and this is not what everything looks like. Like this is not what the project looks like. If you're new here, for example, like, let me show you. Like this is the bread and butter. The we're coding, right? We're going crazy. This is what Unforgiven space will look like when we're closer to release. But right now, this early, we're not even in a beta stage. It's pure development. It's not even alpha, and the game is pretty much funded by Patreon right now with a bunch of testers, and super early. Right, what you're seeing here is under the knife. But I'll get a chance to kind of show you what I'm going for, what the deal is here, like how I want this stuff to truly be. So like this is what the ship will actually look like. Right, with all the components. It's meant to be fun in isolation, right? It's meant to be like I want to take some of the things I really like from Star Citizen's gameplay loops and some of the other space games that I've played, and like, so this is the feel, right? Like I want to have that kind of space scoundrelly, look, with all of our physicalized components. And a lot of this will change, but this is your like home away from home, and all the components physicalized because everything is gameplay, right? Like these comm systems hook up to the comm satellites that you can see like over there somewhere. And if you don't have an uplink to the communication network, then your ship is very slow, and you can only use navigation data. You know what I mean? Like everything about this will be fleshed out. Even your ability to talk to each other with voice will be limited to the systems in place in the game. Right, so this is kind of what it'll really look like as we kind of get it going, right? Like I can't, my free look's kind of broke. This is how it was. Like I originally migrated the game over from Unity, but like this is like a hospital module, and we have all the interiors of every one of these hospital rooms. It's not going to be super aesthetically looking. Like like the materials are still kind of basic. I'm only one. It's kind of like I'm only one person. You know what I mean? So I have to. We have to keep everything in as much scope as we can, right, to deliver. And as it seems right now, I think I have about 24 months, like 2 years of art, unless I start scaling. So if Patreon grows, get more funding, I have a couple of artists in Brazil that are absolutely amazing and talented and are willing to help, but I gotta pay for their time, right? So there's a few things, but I would like to eventually go to a Kickstarter campaign or something with it, but I want to go there with everything working. I want to go there with no bullshit. I want to be like, this is the game, it functions, this is everything you can do in it right now, and we just want to polish it. We want to bring in the lore, we want to bring in quests, we just want to spend the year or two, you know what I mean, like just making, like just adding the meat to it, like it's not, there's no, I don't know, I don't want to have any promises, I just want to get it made, and then hopefully be a bit more successful, yeah, you know what I mean, because like it's a good interest check, and I mean I stream it, so you're here watching, you know what I mean? So like it's slow growing, right? Like every now and then people come across the stream and they're like, oh, what's this game, you know what I mean? And it's really hard. I need to get the YouTube channel growing, really. Like if I could get the YouTube channel, I think to monetize it I need 1,000 subs, and I think we're at like 260 or something like that. So as I'm streaming it, every day or whatever, the hope is that things will kind of socially pick up. And so the great thing is you have like very raw accountability, which is great. Oh yeah, so the NPC weapons is still using ship weapons. Oh, his weapons got destroyed. Oh, okay, that's what happened. Yeah, I saw you my feed because I was subscribed. You actually helped me many months ago with my own Godot project integrating peer-to-peer. Oh, hell yeah, cool. Oh yeah, I remember now. I remember, cool. Yeah, glad. Yeah, it's I really need to put a push on it this month. So apparently that's why the NPC wasn't actually attacking us earlier. Its weapons weren't actually set, so it didn't have anything to fire. And that's because I changed the weapons. I changed the components, right? That's what we're doing now, right? We're getting spawning and despawning of weapon components. So the NPC ship, let's go to the NPC ship spawner. We're only using this template one right now. We do have many different types of NPC ships. So the weapons have the correct gimbals, but the hard points aren't connected to. So this is what hard point left, and then yeah. So we lost the weapons. Gotcha. All right, so we just gotta rehook those up. Left, right. There we go. Technically, the shield body can be turned off because it's only supposed to be turning on when the ship is being attacked. And we need to kind of randomize the visualizations. I think I think if you want to grow, you should make edited videos. I know. If I could do devlogs, if I had the time to do devlogs, you know what I mean, and really, like if I made an intro to the game video, and then slapped it on Reddit, I think it would actually do quite well and kind of keep going with it. It's a time battle. Like I'm working full time right now, and then everything extra has to go into this. So it's like to be able to cut and crop and edit is I don't know. It's a battle, and then anybody else wouldn't really know the scope of the game. So it's kind of it's hard to find that balance, you know. He makes like nerdy videos on like optimization for his N64 fan game, and it does like insane numbers. Yeah, I really need a showcase video. I'll have to figure it out. Like I gotta figure it out soon. We need scale, right? And I think some people could find this interesting. I think it's an all right project. I mean, I'm biased, right? Because I'm making the thing, right? So as a creator, I'm like, oh, of course this is cool. But I mean, tell more people watch it and like see the game and like, oh, okay, I kind of get this. And especially as I start going into a different direction, like this looks very kind of Star Citizen clone-esque, and that's not really the job. Like this is more of a Cowboy Bebop Star Wars type game, you know, like at its nature, a first-person freelancer style game. And I know that's kind of what Star Citizen portrays itself as, but very basic. That I want to get the meat and potatoes type, space game. It's kind of like because like I can't say it's like X series, right? Because X4 does have first person now, and it's cool. And if you were to add co-op slash multiplayer to X4, it would be kind of what I'm aiming for. But I don't want all that background simulation. Like I'm going to have a cool economic simulation, but I'm not going to have the factions or anything like per se. There's different factions, and they're part of your. But like I'm not taking it to like X4 level, How you perceive the universe is very, You know, like X4 is more macro. You're not gonna be managing massive stations and things like that, right? You're going to be just living in your little ship and kind of upgrading it and kind of getting ahead and, you know, surviving, but not in a, you know, survival game sake. So hopefully this will actually get this guy fighting. We need like the weapon. These particular weapons should really only be hitting shields. I don't know why they're. It's our solver. A lot of these games fly over my head because I've never actually heard of them. From what it's worth, though, the foundation here seems like it makes for a very compelling experience, and I'm so cool. I appreciate that. You know, is it something you're interested in testing sometime or anything? Like, feel free to, you know, let me know. It's so this will be. So that was our bug with that. So the NPC ship should actually now be working. Fracturing, I think, is fine. We need to make sure in the physics process. Like, I think if the goal of the physics process is to relay the information out. So, like, you know, for the server, on the server, it does its thing. And if we're all done, I'm saying that we're all done. But we really then need to disable physics process completely. Right? Because we don't need to, we can wait. The only thing is, I would like, set physics process. Can I do it without the children? Actually, this is fine. If this propagates to the children anyway, that's fine because they'll already be sleeping. They're not. The asteroid shards don't do anything other than be a rigid body that's damageable. Yeah, so that's actually great. So once this simulation is done and everyone's sleeping, we can just kill it and then wait for it to be despawned. Technically, we could actually then set, like, once this happens, we can set our timer, like our, you know, clue up timer to kind of take care of itself. We can get rid of this good O object. Let's need it. Yeah, because that'll just kind of make things a little bit more performant. Let's go in and do a little bit more mining and kind of see if that cleans up the issues with the NPC. Really happy with this. This weekend has been the most productive weekend I've had working on the project. So, very cool. And there should be like no client performance loss because like this simulation only needs to happen once. Every time we blow an asteroid, you know, the simulation can happen. We'll do an interpolation on the client side for it. But, you know, there's our combat ship with the, because we can burn CPU on each client to simulate it, but we don't really want to, you know, once it's sleeping and we're kind of fine, we want to leave it there. So we start throwing in some heat to our rocks here. And we have real asteroids. These are just placeholder capsules. Yeah, we get a nice boom. Simulation runs. What I'm looking for is when we actually start sleeping. So these are from the ship spawning. Okay, that's fine. So they're done and they're settled. And then they're not doing anything anymore. Cool. Right, so now let's go back. How are we doing pathfinding for the NPCs? I've personally been struggling with this because I have dozens of NPCs and I want Pathfinder player in 3D space. It's still being worked on. Their navigation system is very primitive right now, but it's going to be some type of quad tree based, you know, or oct tree based system. right? Where we kind of like I need space to kind of subdivide around the bounding volumes of things that could be considered in the way, and then we're just kind of we're going up and down through the octree to kind of like know that, hey, like this thing isn't like we need to navigate around it. So think of it more like it's an A-star algorithm kind of working around volumes, right, that are consumed by an octree, right? So we know like this whole station area is off limits. We're going to go randomly. There's still going to be a lot of randomly charting a course, right, towards a player, like a navigational path, right, that the NPC is following, like a wire that's kind of being, you know, similar to how NavMesh agents work, right? They do a wire path kind of. I'm going to get into some visualization of that, but for a lot of this, you know, they're kind of bumping and banging and stuff right now. When they get to their destination, they're given like a flight path to get into a station and land, and that makes it very effective for them right now. But improvements to their own navigation and their ability to fly in a squadron, you know, is going to be added like as it get like a little bit later. Because right now, like all that matters is they can get from A to B and move cargo around, because that's kind of what they're doing the most of. You know, they're not, you know, the combat NPCs are they're not smart, like they don't need to be smart enough that they can kind of like I can sphere cast, you know what I mean, and find any static body and rigid body in that sphere cast and raycast towards it and come up with a cone. Like I can navigate the sensor range of a ship, but it's not great for long term. Like it's fine for like 200 meters per second, you know, live PvP, you know, where you know, like it has an area 3D and everything that's registering around it. It's keeping track of it. You can keep track of asteroids and stuff, and it can, you know, like burn some CPU cycles to stay away from it. But it's not a good system. It's not a system that's going to track the player, like the ship, to a player across the star system, right? They need to be able to, you know, like jump and when they're not in jump, navigate, right? So they got to be able to, you know, kind of bridge the gap. But that's a great thing. Like, you know, my own quantum is a true like bubble, so it kind of can not that it passes through things, but it warps time around it. It's kind of a there isn't necessarily the risk of collisions in warp, but you get disrupted by all the things around you, and you're kind of speed limited by you know, things that are ahead of you, right? So you're and like if enough gravitational objects are around you, it'll just slow your ship down, and eventually your warp will become unstable, and you know you'll get yeeted. So this is good. I'm not seeing any errors now. There was a couple on the a lot of camera errors, but things seem to be sleeping, and yeah, so this is fine. So this one snap point. Yeah, the reparenting at times. I don't need to call defer the reparent. Just so like, cause what happens when I try to like reposition these to nothing, and like reset them after we like reparent them to the snap point. It's kind of like weird. I don't even know if these really need to reparent. Right, as we, if we're, yeah, if we're adding, yeah, if we're just adding them here anyway, then they're going to take in the transform information anyway. Right, boom. Accentuate it, add it to the snap point. It'll take on So attach direct, which we're only using in that case, doesn't need to reparent anymore. Yeah, it's not actually a thing it needs to do. And this can happen in advance, to be honest. Let me just re-admit. Let me just confirm. By spawning in the ship again. Yeah, the interesting thing I want to achieve, Cassin, is going to be I want the NPCs to be able to, at least the advanced ones, not regular NPCs, advanced. I want a third tier NPC. We have NPCs, they move around with these guys. We have NPC advanced, which has the player's IK system, right? They can shoot, they can be in combat with you, right? They're pretty smart, you know. They also nav mesh. But the third type of NPC, I want them to be able to EVA. So they will incorporate the aspects of the player, but they'll also incorporate some systems that technically the ship is using. So they will have the ability to, you know, do ship-based navigation in 0G. They will be dangerous, right? Because they will also have the ability to become close enough to you that they can join your navigation region of the ship, right? So they are the pirates. They are the ones that will consume the most collective complexity, but they'll generally only be used, you know, for missions where pirates are active, right? So, you know, where you know, they would be able to do that. Because for most of them, you know, I mean, like, they're not going to transition. Like, if an NPC needs to go to their ship, they're going to go to their ship and despawn and become the ship's NPC. So they're not going to, you know, need to transition out of their ship for any reason, right? They might escape, you know what I mean, and be floating there as a rag doll because, you know, they you know, to be rescued or tractored or whatnot. But that's not logic, you know. That's just, you know, eating themselves and then animated, and, you know. So if I spawn in my combat ship now, technically no reparenting will need to happen on the item ports, but all the item ports should be loaded in. Oh yeah, great. And then we're not actually reparenting anymore, so we should see no. Yeah, boom, good. Yep, no errors. These are warnings for the, because I renamed the player ship, and I also have a interpolation issue on the ship camera because I need to turn it back on. Because right now I'm actually running this whole game. Look, see how laggy this gun is? I'm actually running this whole game at 15 FPS right now and using scene tree interpolation. So I'm intentionally, like, you know, trying to push this thing to its limit, you know. Whereas that's why the weapons, because the IK system obviously is not kind of following that. It's kind of using the real physics process. So it looks very, very, very laggy because it is, you know. So I'm gonna go spawn in the other ship real quick. Oh, hang on. Oh, I was like, what the hell? I'm like, that's not my ship. Obviously, I can't store it. Honestly, I'm not sure if you've thought of the game's art direction, but I think playing with the frame rate on certain objects would really add to the. Maybe so. I think you're not wrong on that. There was also another option that I wanted to do. Let's store this. Great. Let me show you this project. I don't know. Like, it would save me a lot of work, but I'm not certain. I really need player feedback. Shader. So to really nail the Cowboy Bebop vibe, I created this shader. That's the sample scene. We're gonna go into the. So like, what do you think of it actually being an anime? Right? What do you think of it actually being? You know. Now for the ship, because of the metallic, you know, it needs more detail. But think of how fast it could scale. You know. Yeah, like an anime. So you would be playing, you know what I mean? Like a character that is literally in an 80s, you know, anime style universe. But I'm not certain, you know what I mean? Like I do like what I'm going with, but it's food for thought, right? Once again, when it comes to like thinking about right art direction and things like that, because it could be cool. I don't know. Right? It's just stuff on the table. You know what I mean? Just on the table because like this works fine for the characters. Like three tone works fine. You know what I mean? But the issue is metallics, right? They'd had to become more gloss, right? Like this would have to become more matte, you know. And then of course like with the actual textures, because the textures like here I'm still using the textures, but I'm using them under the shader. But like with the base color, it looks really bad. So the detail would have to be in here too, you know. And then I think it might look good. But otherwise, right now the ship looks terrible. But that's just a gray box version of the ship. So I mean, I'm thinking anime style for my game right now, but my art style is cubes and capsules. Yeah. We would scale very quick if we went down this road. This is the thing. But I don't know. I don't know the appeal. It needs market research. And how's it going, Red? Right? Really, really needs market research. It's fun and Bobby. I like the posterization effect, and I think it should apply to the whole image as opposed to the diffuse texture only. Yeah, I need to look into it. Back like in the time in which we were, oh my god, there's so much more force. The ship blowing it up. When you say anime, I think of like very young girls with huge boobs that saved the world. I mean, yeah. Let me just start destroying all these little ones. Yeah, that's great. I watch, yeah, observe what I'm doing here. Wait, what? I destroyed myself. What does destroy mean? As for shiny objects, maybe like instead trying to make them shiny stuff in a posterized environment look good, you could make them more rusty. Yeah, yeah, that would be the thing. Because most of the time, metallic shaders are terrible. In reality, you kind of go the more direction of gloss, you know, like matte plus gloss. I remember watching an article on the Iron Man suit of how like it's a metallic suit, but you can never represent it on camera as being metallic because it would just be too reflective. It ended up becoming more plastic, but more of a gloss coating to give it the illusion. It's one of those things where like certain materials just don't translate well. Okay, this is working fine. So I'm gonna leave it here. We can play pool, you know. All these changes tonight. Fantastic. We're gonna come back to it again tomorrow. Tomorrow after stream, we're going to go into the. We're gonna use probably some of the universe spawning stuff. I think like we're ready to test the mechanics online. I need to get the cargo. I want to make sure ship cargo is behaving like this, you know, and actually working. Right. I want us to be able to test delivery missions from point to point. So I think what I want to do is like this, right? I want to go and do some of these that are, you know, spread out. Not just simple. Yeah, I need to look into it. But anyway, I'm going to end it here on the YouTube in just a moment, and then we'll find someone to raid on Twitch. For those that are on Twitch, definitely consider checking out the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Revere or @Revere. You know, it's we're multi-streaming. We want to try to get the YouTube stuff growing. And if you guys are interested in the project, you can also check out the you know, the old Patreon. It's just, you know, patreon.com. Unforgiven space. Boom. And you know, we've been at 111 for a long time. But you know, it's growing, right? Every month I've been putting $100 into artists who's currently working on some of the interior stuff. Now what's cool is like none of that work will change. Even if I go cell shading, all of the bake normals, all of the like it's all still going to be, you know, like utilized. But this is kind of like all the different updates. I've been pushing the updates internally. we have a GitHub tracker. But I really do need to push more here, right? Like I need to, this is it, right? Like I'm so busy making the game that highlighting the game is like a limiting aspect of it right now. It's killing me. Right, but in our Discord, which you can also get to by going to unforgivenspace.com, I have a direct link to the tracker. So, space. So here we have all the changes. So everything that's being worked on is being posted here. All the test builds, you can actually like follow along, you know, all the process pretty much, and you have like click up and a few other things. Definitely consider joining. Oh, welcome. And you get notifications when I go live. But anyway, I'm going to end it here on YouTube. You guys have a great day. Find someone to go raid.